Welcome to Dorks on Sports podcast about four dorks talking about sports. My name is Daniel, and we have a very special guest today. We have my dear friend, Raiders fan and Seahawks troll, Patrick Alcorn. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. I think I'm kind of almost a reformed Seahawks troll at this point. Like I've definitely lightened up a little bit on my Seahawks.
That's because trolling. The Seahawks aren't good anymore.
And the Raiders are like actually, legit now. It's
right.
8-9 years ago when Russell Wilson first came on board and the Seahawks were just lighting the world on fire. I think I can't remember who our quarterback was, Andrew Walter or somebody terrible like that. Just before Derek Carr came on board. So it was a rough time to be a Raiders fan. I had to find other outlets.
Walter, wow.
Well, that's why we have you on the pod. The Raiders going to the playoffs for the first time, and I don't even know how long. 9 years?
It's just 5 years. But the last time we went, Derek Carr was hurt. He got hurt in the last game.
And he was tearing up the league that year, right?
He was on fire. Yeah, no, he was
race.
Mm-hmm. And I think that we proved that he should have been the MVP with how the playoff game against Houston went. It was.
Who was the replacement quarterback for the Raiders?
It was Connor Cook.
Connor Cook,
that's from Michigan State.
World beater Connor Cook.
They for some reason took they used a 4th round pick on him, I think. Just 2 or 3 years after drafting Carr. It didn't really make a lot of sense.
Makes no sense.
And I don't think he's even in the league anymore.
Well, we're excited to have you. As always, we got Curtis over here. Curtis, what's your overall feeling about the season?
About the Seahawks?
Yeah.
My overall feeling?
Your overall, give me an emotion.
I'm just glad we're getting into the offseason.
Relief.
I want to see some changes. I want changes to happen. I want them to be a better team. Start making it happen, Jody Allen.
Come on.
Yeah.
And if Jody Allen listens to this podcast, we have a lot of great ideas. Jody,
we do.
We're here. We're available.
Spend money on the offensive line.
And fire Ken Norton Jr.
Fire Ken Norton Jr.
Fire Ken Norton Jr.
We have Alana over here. Alana, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And my feeling about the Seahawks this year is I feel surprisingly up for a 7-10 season. They ended that I was just looking for DVOA and weighted DVOA for the season. The Seahawks are 8-8 on those two scales. So that the last time that happened, that was when they lost in that playoff game to Atlanta the year before they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they had a really ascendant DVOA. And going into the next season, that was when Russell Wilson was like, we're going to be back here, or whatever he said. And I have this, shitty seasons happen. This one happened. I think next season's going to be totally different.
I agree.
I feel ascendant.
I think that there are a lot of young players on that team that kind of came out through that season. They developed and they asserted themselves as stars on this team. Russell Wilson getting hurt didn't help anything. Penny's renaissance is really exciting. I think Waldron kind of found his identity and Wilson found his within Waldron's system. I think that the last 5 weeks were really good, even though we lost a bad game against the Bears. They did some really nice things, which I think weighted the DVOA a little bit in their favor.
For
Pete
sure.
Carroll in the locker room after we beat the crap out of the Cardinals on Sunday, told the locker room that in this locker room is a nucleus for a championship team. And that's what he told the team in 2011 when the Legion of Boom was formed. And after that season, they went 7-9, and he told that locker room, this is a championship team. I feel really good about this team. I don't think that they're that far away from being contenders. And if they go to work this offseason, they can make it happen. I'm really excited. Millie, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks.
Yeah. The champion, Millie Meckler, by the way, fantasy champion.
That's right. Fantasy champion. Go fluffer nutters.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on the Hawks, looking at it, with our backward facing rose colored glasses. Yeah, the last few weeks felt pretty good and I appreciate what's being said, but I'm also like, if the who's going to be here next year? I don't know. I'm feeling really lukewarm on everything right now. And it's probably because I haven't quite come down from the emotions of the last of this last season. But I don't have that rah-rah security that I used to have. So I got to get that back and it'll happen, but I don't think it's going to happen for me until I get on more solid ground of knowing who's coming back. At the very minimum, knowing if we're going to fire Ken Norton Jr. And who are our coaches, who's our quarterback. Then I'll be able to tell you how I feel, because you might have the nucleus of a championship team, but if we blow it up, we don't.
Right. If nobody comes back.
Yeah. If everybody was healthy this year, I think we would have made the at least a wild card spot if Russell had stayed healthy. I think we would.
Or Carson.
Yeah. Or Carson. Or even Penny. I mean, he once again did not manage to play a full season of football. So as promising as he is, I still have a lot of reservations.
He did. He was the best.
It really reminded me of those like Seahawks teams that I loved to hate a few years ago, you know, with Marshawn Lynch, who I later came to love deeply.
Oh, he is.
But man, he's amazing. But they seem to like get back to that a little bit those last few games, get away from like 40 pass attempts for Russell Wilson and actually like starting to run the ball. But it's got to be the offensive line, right? I mean, you look at that team, it's like you got Russell Wilson, you got running backs playing really well, and you've got one of the best receiving cores in the league. So
if you keep Russell Wilson and you don't give him a line and you don't give him a new center, then there was no point keeping Russell Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. I almost think you're better. I mean, you're almost better with like a Trent Dilfer type, you know, just like
100%.
Get a game manager. You know, you've got so many solid weapons. Like if you spent that 30 million or whatever that Russ is getting on offensive line and just got
they're in one of the best salary cap situations in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
They can offload a few veteran salaries of players that weren't particularly productive for him last year to clear up more space. So there's definitely a way to keep Wilson aboard and spend money on the offensive line if they just spent for like impact players and did the reverse of what they have done in recent years, which is like get a whole bunch of players and pay them sort of like, you know, like middle class, you know, like get a bunch of average players and pay them each like $5 to $6 million. How about get like one like kick-ass center and pay
Jones
like 12, $14 million and have that dude just be the stud in the middle of the line. And that's what they need to do, in my opinion. I mean, I just feel
how did Gabe Jackson pan out? Like I didn't pay too much attention to how the line did.
I saw where, you know, where the Pro Football Focus grades were put forth out in the Twitter sphere, and both of Seattle's guards played poorly this year. He did not grade well, and neither did Damian Lewis, who everybody thought was like an emerging talent.
Oh, right, yeah.
The best graded player on their offensive line was
Dwayne Brown, wasn't it?
It was Dwayne Brown at 72, which is like way below what he's usually at. And it sort of felt like he was teetering off. But like now overall, like the way they graded out on the offensive line was not good.
It was pretty poor.
Do you think part of that is the division too? I mean, 6 games against those.
Like Aaron Donald,
Chandler Jones,
yeah,
Chandler Jones. The Niners are tough. Armstead up front. Like,
I mean, we did go 3-3 in the division, though. I think that, like, absolutely, the offensive line is going to be impacted by that. But like, we beat San Francisco twice. Who beat what? Did they beat Arizona twice? And Arizona beat.
They split with Arizona.
Okay, no. So we beat San Francisco twice. We beat the Rams twice. We beat Arizona twice. We beat. It was one of those like
round robin.
Yeah. Or the fucking murder. Sorry, human centipede. It was a human centipede of teams eating each other. So
This
sorry.
is so here on the podcast, since the Seahawks were losing, we became fans of chaos. And that's all we wanted to see. We just wanted to see chaos in the league. So this is my proposal, Patrick. This is what I want to see happen. I want the Raiders to trade for Russell Wilson. They send us Derek Carr. The Raiders trade for Russell Wilson. Pete gets fired. The Raiders hire Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson can't get away from him.
I think you're creating Patrick's personal human centipede right now.
There was like
I can see the panic attack in Patrick right now.
Well, there were rumors, right? This last offseason, there were rumors because I think the Raiders were one of the teams that he was okay with getting traded to, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And I was like terrified of that because I really don't like that guy. Like his personality just rubs. Yeah, I like the way he plays. Like he's tough. He's hard to take down. He used to be accurate. I don't know what happened this year. But I just really don't like his persona. Like he just comes off phony to me. First, maybe because I'm not a Seahawks fan. He just
he's phony as fuck.
And
Put off Patrick to cap it off.
Carr does the same, like, very religious, all that kind of stuff. But I buy it with Carr for some reason, and I just don't with Russell.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I think the Buccaneers release Richard Sherman. Guess where Richard Sherman goes?
I would take Richard Sherman. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for the Raiders. I always, I think I came up in football in the 80s and 90s, and like the NFL to me isn't the NFL unless the Raiders are doing pretty good. I always envied the Raiders when I was coming up in football. They, in the 80s and 90s, it was like the fad teams were like the high-flying 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys and stuff like that. But I just loved the swag that the Raiders had. They were bullies and they had that swag. And I always just kind of envied that. And so I like it when the Raiders are good. And I'm excited that they're in. What are their realistic chances in the playoffs, Patrick?
I really think that we have a super, super good shot at beating the Bengals on Saturday. And then after that, I don't know what's going to happen because they really have that why not us mentality right now. Like they've been playing playoff games for the last 4 weeks at this point. The Bengals took last week off. They pulled all their starters last week to give them rest. I think that's going to hurt them. I think that tends to not do well.
I think
for
so
teams.
too.
And especially when you have a team that's built this momentum like the Raiders have, where like every week it's you have to win or we're done. We have to win or we're done. I'm a little worried about a letdown, just the way the last game ended. Like that was such like almost like a championship feel. The way it was like, we had to win. It blew a big lead at the end, and then pulled it out in overtime. So I do worry about that a little bit. But we played the Bengals earlier in the year. And it was a close game up until the fourth quarter. They kind of blew the lid off in the fourth quarter. So we can hang with them. It's just getting pressure. They're really good at kind of quick throws, which can kind of negate our pass rush and kind of take that away. And that's such a huge part of what that defense does well.
If the Raiders don't kick that field goal, they don't get the Bengals. Just saying.
Yeah,
right.
I know. But yeah, they get the Chiefs instead, who destroyed us twice.
Right. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were going for the tie, and then somebody was like, if we kick this field goal, we don't get the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard for any team to beat another team 3 times in one season, but I don't want to. I wouldn't want to take my chances with doing that against the Chiefs in the first half.
So I think that Raiders-Bengals game is the game of the first round of the playoffs. I'm super excited for it because the Raiders, like you said, are playing with house money. But I think the Bengals offense is. I've read a lot about how it's replaced the Chiefs offense as the exciting offense in the NFL because Jamar Chase is last week.
Oh man,
dude's amazing.
Yeah,
and Burrow is just like really just playing all out, and the defense is quite good as well. but all that being said, I still want to talk more about the game that just happened, because I think that was the game of the year. Tell us about what you're thinking about that game.
Oh my gosh. So I was super pumped for that game, like all week. That's all I could think about. I cooked the dinners for the family. I was like, Heather, we're ordering pizza that night. Like I know it's Sunday, but I'm not cooking dinner. It was like the one thing I was looking forward to all week. And then Sunday morning, the games are going, right? And it looks like suddenly Jacksonville's beating Indianapolis. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? Because there was this scenario where that game wouldn't have mattered if Jacksonville beat the Colts and if the Ravens beat the Steelers. And I knew, like, the Ravens and Steelers, that's a coin flip game, but there's no way Jacksonville's going to beat Indianapolis in a must-win game for Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's what Indianapolis thought too.
Unbelievable. So I'm watching the morning games, and I'm like, it's kind of bittersweet because the Ravens are winning, Jacksonville's running away with it. I'm like, this is going to be a meaningless game all of a sudden. Like, I've been building this up as this, like, oh my God, I can't wait. And it's like, now it's going to be, it doesn't matter. So it was kind of like bittersweet when the Steelers won that game at the end. They won, I think, in overtime too on the last field goal. So anyway, the game's starting, and I'm super into it. Raiders get off to a pretty good start. Chargers, it's a little back and forth. Get to the fourth quarter, 4.5 minutes left, up by 15, 4th and 21 for the Chargers. I'm like, this thing's done. And then 23-yard touchdown, go for 2, get it. Suddenly it's a 7-point game. Okay, I'm biting my nails a little bit. And then that last drive, my God, just
amazing.
Just like 4th down after 4th down. Yeah. I loved that the 1 4th down they didn't convert was the total Brandon Staley move of going for it on 4th and 2 from your own, I think, 18-yard line. In the third quarter. I thought that was, I knew that he was going to do one of those. He does that all the time. And I guess the numbers, justify that somehow, but I just don't see the risk reward there. I mean, it's like you fail and you give at least 3 points to the other team.
Agreed.
If you get that first down, then what? It's 1st and 10 from your own 21. Like, it's not like you're in great position. You still have to go the rest of the field.
It's just being drunk on the analytics is what I sort of.
I think so.
I think so.
It's just, yeah.
So yeah, I was going crazy the whole game. Every 4th down, I'm standing up like, come on, this is the one, get off the field. And then just conversion after conversion. I'm like, oh God. And then when it went into overtime, I mean, the Chargers had all the momentum. I thought that we were going to be toast. So to pull that out, and when it got to where it was like, okay, it's going to be a tie or a win, barring some like crazy blocked field goal. I was feeling pretty good, but because it was the Chargers, even though I hate the Steelers, it felt pretty good to like, you know what? We're not going to do the tie. You guys go home now.
It looks like it was a decision they made in the moment too. When Staley called that timeout, it was like, oh, I guess we will win then. Okay, thanks.
I think that was part of it. Yeah, because I mean, it would have been like a pretty long, like kind of risky field goal. And I think at that point, you run the risk of it coming up short and then, returning it like there was like an Auburn, Alabama game a few years ago that ended that way. So when they called that timeout and then we, busted a nice like 10-yard run by Jacobs, suddenly it's like, oh, now this is kind of like a 45-yard field goal. This is a lot easier now.
There was an interview with Carr where, I think she straight up asked him that. And he was like, yeah, they called the timeout.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all resigned themselves to the idea, like, we'll just tie. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're not going to do anything stupid, like a super
that's
long
what we
field
were hoping
goal.
for.
Yeah.
They were absolutely prepared to just get the tie.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that the Steelers return the favor and beat the Chiefs this weekend. I don't really see that.
I don't like their
happening.
chances, but
I don't like their chances. I know I can't stand it. Roethlisberger, I'm ready for him to be out of the league, but if he could win one more game, I'd be okay with that.
Well, no self-respecting
because the Chiefs are the only team that scares me. Like sorry, go ahead.
I just say no self-respecting Seahawks fan is ever going to root for the Steelers.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's fair.
yeah.
But the Chiefs are the only team in the AFC right now that scares me. That like I feel like, and maybe it's because they just destroyed us twice. But I think all the other teams, like they're beatable. Like even Tennessee is the 1 seed. I mean, I know Derrick Henry's coming back, but that team has played some really iffy games.
Didn't they lose to Houston? Or they lost to the Jets too.
The Jets, that's what it was. Yeah. They've been really close with some bad teams. Buffalo and New England, I think, are pretty inconsistent as well. So yeah, I don't really. Nobody else really scares me the way the Chiefs do.
Yeah, well, any team that's going to have Pat Mahomes is going to be,
I mean, they just have so many weapons on that offense. They're so fast.
Yeah. Should we get into predictions? Do we want to make some predictions for the weekend?
Sure. Why don't we just go into that?
Run down some predictions. All right. So we got on the docket. We have on Saturday. It starts off with the Raiders Bengals. And then we got the Patriots and Bills. So this is my prediction. I like the Raiders. I am going to go Raiders win this one by 3. I'm going to say it's 21. So maybe they win by 4, 21-17. And then we got the Patriots and Bills. I think the Bills are the more talented team, but I'm never going to bet against Bill Belichick in the playoffs. So I'm taking the Patriots. I don't know this one. I'm going to say Patriots 28, Bills 21. We got Sunday. We got Eagles, Bucks, 49ers, Cowboys, Steelers, Chiefs. Eagles, Bucks. I hate the Eagles. The Buccaneers are going to blow them out of the water. I think they score a bunch of points. I think it's like 35-14. I think it's going to be, I think they're just going to like run away with it. 49ers, Cowboys. I was shocked to learn that the 49ers actually won 10 games this season. They do not look like a team that won 10 games. The Cowboys have some momentum. That defense is really good. Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. I think they're going to take it to the 49ers 28-17. Then we got Steelers, Chiefs. The Steelers are going to run away with them. This one's going to be gross. It's going to be like 42-13.
The Steelers are going to win? Oh, okay.
The Chiefs are going to win that one. And then on Monday, we got Cardinals, Rams. This one's a little hard for me. I'm going to take the Rams because I don't like the Cardinals have a really talented team, but they lack discipline. And I think Sean McVay always has his teams playing tight. I think the Rams are going to win this one. I'm going to say it's, I don't know, 24-21. Yeah. Alana,
I'm just going to sit there. I am not going to call score on these.
No, don't worry about it.
Bengals and Raiders. I think that's the game of the weekend. I think it's tons of scoring. I think the Bengals win. Sorry, Patrick. I really like that Bengals team. Bills and New England. I think the Bills smoke them actually, even though we're going to see 3 pass Max Strong again in that -10 weather or whatever they have. I just think Buffalo is a better team by a wide margin, and I think they play to their capacity. Eagles, Bucks. I don't even want to talk. Bucks win. Smoke them. Dallas, San Francisco. Dallas is the team I'm rooting for in the NFC. That's how garbage the NFC playoffs are this year.
They truly are garbage.
Who else am I supposed to root for? The Rams.
I mean, you got three division rivals in the playoffs.
And then and the Eagles aren't going to beat the Bucks, and the Bucks have Tom Brady. So I'm left with the Cowboys, and the Packers are the worst team in the history of sports. So. Anyway, Dallas is beating San Francisco. Kansas City is going to smoke Pittsburgh. I'm going to pick a Cardinals upset, even though I think Matt Stafford comes to play. Let's just say that, and the Cardinals win. We get a Stafford game.
I like it. All right, Millie, give me some predictions.
All righty. So here's the thing. My Christmas of football is not the Super Bowl. It is and always will be wild card weekend. It is a weekend that I try to make zero plans because I am going to sit there and watch every game and every play. I am within this group, the one who watches Red Zone most Sundays. So it's nothing but, constant football and scoring. So this is just going to be so wonderful for me because I get the full story, which I appreciate as well. The other thing I love about Wild Card Weekend is all the upsets. And I have to keep that in mind because when I first look at my predictions, they're pretty much, home team seeding. And I have to remember that when I make a pick. So with that said, I absolutely believe in the Bengals. Everyone knows they're my dark horse hopeful team. So I gotta go with the Bengals. Patriots, Bills. See, the problem is my whole theory with upsets because I really think the Bills are going to go. And I'm going to stick with it. So I'm going to go with the Bills. That gets you to the Eagles and the Buccaneers. I mean, do I really think Tom Brady's going to throw a shoe? Sure, why not? I'm doing it. I'll take the Eagles.
Nice.
Wow.
Yes.
I like
All
it.
right.
My other upset is definitely the 49ers over the Cowboys. As somebody who suffered through a fantasy season of accidentally getting too many Cowboys on her roster, I know how absolutely hot, cold, horrible they are, most especially Dak Prescott, who I think folds under pressure, falls apart, and they get destroyed by the weirdly successful and yet still gimpy 49ers.
He's the
I don't
most
know how the
overrated player in the
49ers
league, I think. Dak, he's so
Yeah.
overrated. I don't get
agree. I agree.
I like him, but I don't Russell Wilson like him.
It doesn't take much. If you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, you will be overrated.
Totally.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Would you rather have Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott.
Dak
Dak
Prescott.
Prescott for me?
And don't get me wrong, Dak is, especially when he's on, he is fun to watch. He is interesting. He allowed me to like the Cowboys again, instead of having pure hatred for them.
Aaron Rodgers also allowed me to like the Cowboys again. I just want to say that.
Yeah, my hatred has definitely moved over the years. It was the Vikings for a long time and the
Ooh.
Steelers.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really hated the Vikings. I had a real thing against Moss, but now he's like a commentator and he's delightful. And he's all, you got Moss, and he's a lot of fun. But as a player, I hated that man with a fiery passion. And now it's all focused on Green Bay, Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We here at the podcast, we're not big fans of Aaron Rodgers. So
Oh no, I feel it sucks because I started the year thinking I love Jeopardy. He hosted Jeopardy. I was like, hey, this Aaron Rodgers, I kind of like this guy. And then all the vaccine stuff and
he just thinks he's way smarter than everybody else. He feels like
does,
a Reddit troll. Like if you were, if a wizard were to turn Reddit into a football player, you'd get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You would get Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee.
Yeah. And if Devontae Adams, if
yeah.
Devontae Adams is listening to the podcast, go back to Derek Carr, your college buddy. Don't waste your time with Aaron Rodgers.
He seems like a gem too, like a real good dude.
Devontae?
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Carr's a cool dude. Well, I don't know if he's a cool dude, but he's a nice dude.
I meant Devontae, but Derek Carr.
Oh, Devontae?
Yeah.
I am actually quite fond of Derek Carr as well. I'm so happy to see him succeeding.
Oh, I felt so deeply in love when they showed a close-up of his face as he called the timeout right before the field goal. He had this wicked side smile on his face. It was beautiful. It was this total fuck you guys. I loved it.
So to finish out my predictions, I can never pick the Steelers, so I have to go with the Chiefs. And way back a long time ago, I did in fact pick the Rams when it came to the NFC. So I don't have enough upsets here, but I'm going to go with the Rams.
All right. Curtis, give me some predictions.
All right. Raiders at Cincinnati. Sorry, Patrick. I gotta go Bengals with that one. I feel like
no faith, Patrick. I got you.
I just feel like home field advantage. The crowd's gonna be jacked up. They haven't been there for a long time, and they got They got that Chase dude. And I don't know. I'd be happy to see the Raiders upset that and get that win, but I'm gonna pick the Bengals. I'm gonna say 28-23. Patriots at the Bills. I think the Bills are going to handle that one. 10 points. I'm going to say 27-17. Eagles at the Bucks. Man, I don't think it's going to be Gardner Minshew's day. Sadly, I like Gardner Minshew.
You're saying Gardner Minshew isn't going to outplay Tom Brady?
No, he's not. He's going to get humiliated. It's going to be 34-13 if they're lucky. Bucks over the Eagles.
Is Jalen Hurts not playing? For some reason, I thought he was.
Oh yeah, there's Jalen Hurts there too. Well, that might be the one that's playing there, but it's been Minshew lately, right?
No, it's been Hurts.
Hurts is back.
Just this last week. Just last week.
Back.
Yeah, but that Minshew's the kind of guy that for Seattle, like, spend all that money on the offensive line, bring in Minshew, he'll win some games. While you
I actually agree with that, Patrick. I think if Minshew was a game manager with an offensive line in Seattle, he'd win some games.
Yeah.
I believe we talked about this in the off season amongst the dork group here, and I was also in favor of a Minshew if that had to happen.
I just think I believe in Minshew magic.
He's got some moxie.
I can't shake he's got the moxie. He's got the match. I think it's a real deal.
He's got the mustache. I like it. He can fit in as a Seattle hipster. Yeah.
If you look at his efficiency numbers throughout. Yeah, they've all been solid. Anyhow, I'll move forward.
So
here's my upset. I think the 49ers are going to beat the Cowboys at home 27-24.
So wait, what was your
27-24?
No, for the Eagles Bucks. Are you picking the Bucks, I guess?
No, the Bucks. The Bucks, yeah. 34-13 Buccaneers over the Eagles. The Eagles are going to lose because they're going to play Jalen Hurts instead of Gardner Minshew.
And then I'm sorry, you said the 49ers 27-24.
49ers 27 over the Cowboys. Yeah, I think Shanahan's gonna run on that team, and I think that's gonna get them out of what they love to do with the pass rush. That's my vibe there. The Chiefs are gonna trounce the Steelers. 35-13. And then the Cardinals are going to upset the Rams 31-28. It's going to be it's going to be an exciting game. I think that's going to be
with like a Matt Stafford pick six.
Yeah, I'm not a Stafford buyer. A Carr's way better than Stafford.
Agreed.
Yeah. I just I'm not a Stafford guy. That'll be a fun loss to watch.
Well, the only game we all agree on is the Chiefs.
We didn't give Patrick a chance.
Get Patrick in there.
No,
I apologize.
Oh, that's
Patrick,
fine.
what are your picks?
Well, obviously, I'm going with the Raiders on Saturday. My brother's going to be at the game. If it wasn't for this stupid Omicron spike, I would be there too. But we decided that traveling to Chicago and then driving to Cincinnati with the stadium full of 80,000 people was probably not the best way to keep our kids in school.
Probably not wearing masks.
Yeah, I don't think the Midwest is very mask friendly there.
No. If it was summertime and we didn't have to worry about the kids at school, then maybe. But I'm not running the risk of having to keep them home. Anyway, I got to go with the Raiders. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's supposed to be really cold. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think Daniel Carlson, who's had a great year, he hasn't missed a kick all year. Knock on wood. I think he does all the scoring. I think it's 18-11 Raiders, 6 field goals from Daniel Carlson.
Oh, that sounds like a great.
How does Cincinnati get to 11?
They go for 2. They have a field goal and then they score a touchdown, go for 2. They don't get that last second touchdown that the Chargers got to tie it. That's the difference here.
All right, Pats Bills.
I'm going to go with the Pats. I think that this is the. I think it's definitely. The Bills. I'm going with the Bills. There's been a lot of talk about all the rookie quarterbacks. I think the rookie quarterbacks fall on their face this weekend. Not buying Mac Jones. Bills are super talented. And I don't think it's actually that close. I'm going to say 31-13 Bills. I think they trounce them. This I think is going to put the Wild in the wild card weekend. I think the Eagles beat the Bucks.
Because they play Gardner Minshew.
No, I think Jalen Hurts he's gonna establish himself as like a legit NFL quarterback. He's looked pretty good in the times that he's been able to play. He's been hurt a lot, but I think that defense is solid. I think it's one of those like lunch pail type teams, that they don't necessarily have like the big stars, but they just come in and get the job done. I think there's a lot going on in Tampa with all the Antonio Brown stuff. I think that they're maybe believe in their own hype a little too much. And I think that the Eagles come in and surprise everybody.
I think the overconfidence absolutely works against the Bucks. I think their team is not playing against the team they're about to play. They're thinking too far ahead. And I think they go down. I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's close. I'm going to say 21-20. The Eagles. So if that's my parlay, the money line there with the Bills, the Raiders, and the Eagles, I'm going to make a fortune. Let's see what's next. The
49ers.
49ers Cowboys.
Yeah.
I agree with Millie on this one. I think the Cowboys are too inconsistent. Maybe it's because I had Zeke Elliott on my fantasy team. And I think that defense is overrated. I think Diggs, got a lot of interceptions, but he got torched a lot. And I think Deebo Samuel is one of the most talented people in the league, and he's going to run wild on that defense. And then, that style of offense that the Niners play, it's just, very old school, run the ball. I think it's going to keep the ball away from Dallas. And
I would
don't
too
trust
if I
their
had Jimmy
receivers
G as
either.
my quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I don't trust the receivers in Dallas at all. Amari Cooper, former Raider, has a bad habit of disappearing in big games and dropping the ball. So I'm going with the 49ers, 17-10.
Okay. Steelers,
All right, we got
Chiefs.
Steelers Chiefs.
I really want to go with the Steelers, but I can't. The Chiefs are just too talented. And it's time for Ben Roethlisberger to go home. So, I'll go with the Chiefs, 31-10. Ugh. I hate the Chiefs so much.
And finally, Monday, we have Cardinals Rams.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals in that one. I'm with Curtis. Matthew Stafford is not the guy. I think he throws 3 picks and they get pretty embarrassed. 28-7.
I love how Matthew Stafford was the darling of the media. Like everybody was like, "Oh, Matthew Stafford on a McVay offense. He's going to be the MVP." Here at the podcast, we were perplexed why they gave up so much for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford throws a whole lot of yards and then disappears into a game. Like he loses games. He throws a bunch of yards and then he tosses a pick that'll lose the game. And then lo and behold, that's the Matthew Stafford they get. Like the Rams could have won 12 games with Jared Goff as well.
And save the draft picks.
Right.
Yeah.
I was baffled by that choice,
trade.
and I think the Rams, had a rude awakening there.
I'm nervous because anytime everybody picks the same team to win, that's usually the big upset. But hopefully we're all right. And the Steelers, I mean, they just shouldn't even be in the playoffs. So.
No,
Steelers.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
I just want to jump in for 1 second because I did actually do a little homework and prepared a question for Patrick for our podcast, because Patrick, I look at the Raiders and my question for you is, who is your favorite ex-Seahawks on the Raiders team?
On the current Raiders team?
Yeah.
You got 3 of them, I think, right?
Yeah, who do we got? KJ Wright.
AJ.
Quentin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Quentin Jefferson. I forgot he played with the Seahawks. Yeah.
And apparently Jordan Simmons.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Guard. He's a guard, I think.
Yeah, he was a guard.
Of that group, I gotta go with Quentin Jefferson. I thought he had a great game against the Chargers this last week. He didn't really show up in the stat sheet, but he was super disruptive.
Yeah,
and really helped.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he got some of that inside pressure on Herbert that allowed Yannick and Max Crosby to come in from the outside. So I'll go with Jefferson. But all-time favorite, definitely Marshawn Lynch. When he came to the Raiders, I was stoked.
I love Marshawn.
He might be hosting an Amazon show, like the Amazon version of the Manning brothers, where he just is sitting there with his fucking crown or whatever it is he drinks. And
his short appearance on the Manning cast was the best guest host on that show.
Yeah. You put him on live TV when he can just be at his house drinking and smoking whatever he wants. That's a choice.
I got my question for Patrick.
What do you think of the rumblings of Jim Harbaugh being interested in the coaching gig?
Yeah, that's it's hard to say because I really think if Bisaccia, if the Raiders beat the Bengals on Saturday, I don't know how you don't roll with him as your head coach next year. Like what he did with this team and all the distractions. Not even just Gruden, but then Henry Ruggs, of course, and that whole tragedy, like, and the injuries and the COVID. I mean, Darren Waller's probably our best offensive weapon. He was gone for 4 or 5 weeks, and they still held it together. So yeah, I think there's a reason, they chose him and not, Gus Bradley, who has head coaching experience. They chose Bisaccia, and Mayock said that he's the best leader he's ever been around. So I think that if Mayock stays and the Raiders win, I don't see how you let go of Bisaccia at that point. I really want them to bring Gus Bradley back. I think what he did with that defense, the end of the season there, that was a completely different defense, and it was exciting because it was like actually felt like you could get some stops, which hasn't happened in a long time.
I'd love the Seahawks to bring Gus Bradley back.
Yeah, I would too.
I would say. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm gonna be really that's the only thing that bums. Like in a vacuum, I love the idea of Harbaugh coaching the Raiders. But if that means you don't get Gus Bradley back,
but you'd probably get
Carr's had so many head coaches
throughout
his career. It's like give him some continuity,
Bisaccia is my vote for coach of the year. I mean, the amount that he managed from that position while getting the team into the playoffs, like if you move on from him, unless he's like, I don't want this, I want to be whatever he was before,
special teams coach,
specialty, like that's what I want to do, that's where my love is, then by all means. But like it's impressive. Isn't this like the first time in 60 years that we have a mid-season coaching change that made it to the playoffs?
About to say. It's been since the early 60s, first time.
That's a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it's huge, right?
Have to keep him.
Yeah. I think you're right though, Alon. I think that's a really good point. Unless he's like, you know what, I don't want it. I think, why not? I mean, why would you switch it up at this point?
Right.
With all the momentum going, like, all that team has been through, and unless you're going to just blow up the whole roster, keep it together because whatever they've got there is working.
Why would they blow it up? They're a playoff team. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's Raiders Twitter is like there's a good 40-45% that is like totally anti-Carr.
Why do they not want Derek Carr? Derek Carr to me is a top 10 quarterback in this league. And he's like 30 years old. He can be a top 10 quarterback for like 5 to 6 to 7 more years. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think it's because he struggles in the red zone. I think that's a big part of it. There's a feeling that he checks down too much. I think that's the style of the offense that they run. He actually did throw a lot of deep balls this year and had like some of the best numbers in the league doing it. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't get it. But yeah, it's definitely out there.
Franchise quarterbacks are so hard to come by. When you find one, you hold on to it.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you going to get that's better than him? I don't understand. It's like, Yeah,
I agree. Unless they, you want to bring in Gardner Minshew?
I got him into. Anybody want to Gardner Minshew?
I love the Marcus Mariota that the plays that they're running with Marcus Mariota. I think that's good. And I think that hurt us when he was out this year too, actually, because they built a lot of that offense around having that switch up and having him come in and run some read options. So losing that hurt.
Well, here on the podcast. Right? What's that?
You guys could roll with Mariota, couldn't you? He's not bad.
Gonna Pete Carroll offense.
The Seahawks were to trade Russell Wilson for a boatload of picks, and they brought Mariota to compete with some dudes. I wouldn't mind that. He's talented.
Give us Jordan Brooks. We'll give you Marcus Mariota.
Oof!
Glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that somebody else likes Jordan Brooks. That's not.
I want your white dude pass rusher, the
Max
Crosby guy. Yeah, I want that guy.
He's good.
That guy's a monster, man. It's such a fun team to root for. But with him and with Waller, they both are very public about their struggles with sobriety and and their recovery. It's a fun team to root for sure.
Well, here on the podcast, Patrick, we like to end the podcast with a segment we call Dorkin, where we just dork out about some things that we're enjoying in the past week. I'll start. I don't have a ton to say. Alana's already said it on past podcasts, but I just started getting into Station 11. And I am in love with that show. HBO, it's about a flu pandemic that kills like 99% of the human population, and then cuts to 20 years in the future in this post-pandemic apocalypse, and makes the apocalypse look pretty good. I was telling Alana, I was like, it follows a traveling Shakespeare company who goes from town to town, performing Shakespeare for, food and supplies and stuff like that. And I was looking at that and going, like, out of capitalism, out of all this COVID nonsense, out of a pandemic, that doesn't look so bad. We're still doing Shakespeare. I don't know. I like it. Anyway, Station 11. Apparently, it's having its season finale this week. Check it out. It's a really beautiful, really lovely TV show, and I enjoy it a lot. Alana, what are you dorking out about?
I can't express enough how excited I am, and no offense, for this podcast to end so I can go watch the finale of Station 11, because it has the possibility of being one of the top 5 shows I've ever seen in my life. It is phenomenal. The last episode was deeply, deeply, deeply moving and beautiful, and I look forward to seeing more of it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to 2 video games I've been playing. One is Outer Wilds, which I'm playing with the kid.
I love that game.
It's great. You play an astronaut on a planet, and there's a time loop element in it. I don't want to say too much else, because I think it is worth discovering as you play. And then Psychonauts 2 is the other one that I'm playing, which is basically like if you took the movie Inside Out and turned it into an action-based video game. And we're trying to help people with their trauma while you were inside their brain. It's wonderful and funny. So
what platform is that for?
That Psychonauts 2 is, I think, Xbox, PS, everything but Switch, I think.
Okay. That sounds fun.
And then Outer Wilds is everything.
Yeah.
So
cool. Curtis, what are you dorking out about?
I watched that the Eternals movie.
Oh, cool.
What'd you think?
God, it was a turkey.
It was a turkey.
Marvel
is not a good movie.
Marvel made a turkey.
They were due.
It was. I was entertained in spaces of it, but like the Rob Stark character is the Icarus with the laser eyes of super. It was like, did Zack Snyder like get in there and get into that studio and just like give everybody quaaludes or something? Like, what was that movie all about? It felt like it was something out of the whole DC thing. It was just
and
like
I get it.
It was like, what there was funny moments. Sure, there's always levity in these movies, but then like the amount of melodrama that the Rob Stark guy was doing and emoting, I was just like going like, this does
by
not.
the way,
and they threw a sex scene in there. There's
it's the first time Marvel has had a sex scene, and it is the like least erotic sex scene I have ever seen in my life. Yeah,
I just felt bad for her. I was just like, why are they throwing this at her? Anyhow, that's it.
Right. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but now my expectations are so low.
Well, you kind of have to watch it for the stink bomb that it is. I mean, it's sort of like, but it's a long one. I mean, it goes on for like 2.5 hours.
Billy, what are you darking out on?
So, last week I was like, I don't even have anything. So, I had to try something new, and I actually talked the Hubs into trying something new. So that's a win. So we decided to try Raised by Wolves on HBO. We've only seen the first episode, so I got no idea where this is going. First episode is fascinating and interesting and wildly there's just so much going on, but visually really cool. And
it's the Ridley Scott one, right?
Yeah, it's really
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
At least the premise from the first episode is that basically humanity's done, and there's an arc of humans with a lot of children supposedly headed for this other planet, and it was like this faction war and sort of the it's very much it's atheists versus these believers. So it really gets into religion from what I can tell. And the atheists had androids, and these androids brought these fetuses to this planet and basically turned them into children. And that's then a lot of things happen. I don't want to tell people too much, but don't get attached to anybody, even if they're children. I'll tell you that.
I think that was a true nightmare I had once.
It's weird, but it's good, and visually it's doing stuff that I haven't seen, and that's always neat, especially with the androids. So I'm into it. I'm curious what'll happen in the next few episodes, and if I can keep the hubs involved. But it's different. I'm trying it.
They just renewed it for season 2 is about to come out.
Right.
Wow. All right. You'll have to let us know in another podcast how it's going, Millie.
Yeah, check in and I'll be like, don't watch it. Don't.
Yeah. Patrick, are you dorking out on anything? What have you been?
Yeah, we got a Nintendo Switch for the family for Christmas.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I'm like 2 years too late to this, but I've been loving Animal Crossing. I just outed myself as the softest Raiders fan in the country, I think. Yeah, it's funny because when we set it up, I had no idea what the game was like. My son, who's 6, was the first one to play it, so like set up an account for him, blah blah blah, and then he's the resident representative, so like everything runs through him. Like we can't progress and get new things until he does certain tasks. So I have to like beg my kid to play video games so that I can continue progressing. And I need a ladder, and I looked up how to get a ladder, and you have to go to an island and get somebody else to come to our island, so you need to play this game now. Yeah, so that game's been a lot of fun. Other than that, I'm watching Seinfeld right now, rewatching Seinfeld as I go to bed, which, man, it's still funny as hell, but there are definitely some moments where you're like, "Ew, that would not fly today." Yikes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, Patrick.
Oh, it's been so fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And go Raiders. I'm rooting for you this weekend.
Yeah.
If you're listening, wherever you're listening to this podcast, Spotify, Apple, whatever, follow us on there. Tell your friends all of that. Follow Curtis's blog, 12life.com. He has some really insightful things to say on there. Once again, my name is Daniel. For Alana, Patrick, Millie, Curtis, the rest of 12s, saying goodbye, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Hawks.
Go Raiders.
Yay, go Hawks.